How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've made a video. I just created a new studio, if you can see. Got some acoustic panels, finally built a PC so I don't have to put frozen ice. Well, I guess ice is already frozen, but frozen berries or ice on top of my laptop so it doesn't overheat, which is nice. Got a new monitor, keyboard, table, chair. So yeah, I think I'm all set now. I guess I just want to say thank you to all of you guys, because without the channel and the Patreon and these videos, I would not be able to have purchased all of this. It's kind of crazy to me that I'm about to hit 1,000 subscribers, which I never really knew what was going to happen when I started this channel. I wasn't really starting it for any reason particularly. I just was really sick of music and I just wanted to do something different. And through this channel, I've learned way more than I have in the past years, all combined. My ear is so much better. I have this community of people on the Discord and the Patreon and the YouTube, and you guys keep telling me to make new sounds. You bring me to sounds that I might have not chosen myself. So yeah, just thank you guys so much for all of this. I hope I can continue to make some videos that will be helpful for you. I have a few that I'm working on right now. This project is already up on the Patreon. There's another deadmau5 project, October, that I've been working on, but Gigi's been requested a lot. So I thought I would try my own little version of it. And there's some cool techniques in this, I think. So I'll just play it and then we can go through some of the synths and techniques I used. I threw in some drums as well. This whole thing is like 5 minutes long. So if you don't want to hear it, I guess just fast forward through it. This is definitely going to get a copyright strike, but I think I'll just play it for you guys. Then we can start going through it. All right, so that is pretty much it. The layers that we have here are the main pluck sound. There's this little like delay layer over the top. It just sounded like there was this kind of just very high frequency tapping that's going from the left and right. Fills out the atmosphere because without it, it just feels kind of dead. The pad that I created. I decided to split this up into two different pads, a high and a low. And I had made this coming off of seeing deadmau5 at Red Rocks, and like Nero opened up for him. And the one thing that kind of was blowing my mind was how they were using reverb with their pads as they're DJing. And basically what pads are, it's just introducing different frequencies and harmonics, and because there's so much reverb on it, those harmonics will ring out. So you're just kind of trying to twist in different textures and harmonics, and then you're letting the reverb kind of carry it out, which creates this very nice pad. So I tried to do that with this pad. See, I have some movement going on, I believe, in the wavetable position here. So we're getting some of those frequencies changing over time. There's a sub that's underneath. And this one sounded different from like a standard sub. It sounded like there were two harmonics actually, not just a sub. It's the sub and then the octave above. These nice gentle little sines. And then the saw that comes in at the end. And I combine that with a noise patch because when the sound first comes in, it's just the noise like on the left side. And I didn't really know how to, well, I tried at first in just one patch with the saw and the noise, but I couldn't get the opening up to be quite like deadmau5 had it. I doubt he used two patches because he does everything very simply. And then just this little drum loop that I created. But I think the first thing to go over is the intro, which is kind of like the main feature. Very unique type of introduction. And I think I will throw the MIDI for this in that one random folder I have on MediaFire, which has a bunch of different MIDIs that are just too long to go over. But I mean, really quickly, it's just pretty simple ARP, and the bass notes are kind of interchanging between low and high. So let's go over this pluck first. So I'll take off what I have here. I'm going to leave the automation in because it's a fairly big hassle to remove it. But with just a single saw wave, I'll turn off the LFO for now. I threw it up to 6 voices because it didn't sound like just one solitary voice. Throws it into the sides some more and just gives it more of a texture. And then I'm using this filter. The 18 decibel per octave is what I've been using lately. And what I've been doing with this type of filter is not having the mod amount be so much. Having a very short pluck envelope, but not having the mod amount affect it too much. I think too much of a mod amount with this steep of a filter and this steep of a pluck envelope, it just gives you a very unnatural pluck sound. It's kind of hard to mix in. And another aspect to this is the attack is pushed. And the reason for that is because the pluck in this song is actually softer. It's kind of more of that, I guess it's a brass type of feel to a pluck. I always say brass because if you're trying to create a brass sound. But just very gently, if the attack was all the way back, and I use the envelope 1 to push the attack even more, which is the overall volume of the entire synth. I'm using some compression just to control all those sounds. With multiple voices, you're going to get some phasing, which is going to cause random volume changes in every hit. So this compressor just kind of gives you an insurance policy to crunch the notes down a little bit so we're getting consistent volume. And I'm using a quick attack and a quick release because these are very short transient sounds. If the attack is too open, the compressor is not even going to catch it. And I have the release a little bit faster because the notes are pretty frequent, so we want the compressor to recover before the next note hits. And then just a little bit of plate reverb to give it a little bit of a room in the background. So just some basic EQ. I just felt like the upper part of it, kind of this sizzle, high presence area, and just bumped that a bit. I have a limiter to cut off the peaks, which is another thing to give it consistent volume, especially as it's building up. And then this delay, which is kind of a main feature of the sound. So that is the synth element itself. So the main, I guess the main draw of this song is the intro and how the synth interacts with the delay. So if I go to the beginning here, and by the way, my monitor is really wide. It's like a 34-inch. So to fit it in an OBS window, this is what I'm doing. So there's space on the top and bottom. If you guys don't like that, just let me know. And then I can set it to like a regular YouTube video dimension, but it will just be cutting off some of what Ableton is showing. But let's go over this delay. So the delay is set very high at the beginning. So essentially all we're hearing is the delayed signal from the synth. And the characteristic of this delay is very similar to the F and Pig delay. So you turn the percentage of each of these delays left and right backwards, so negative percentage. So the delayed hits are actually going to be pre-hitting the actual synth hit. So that sounds like this. The thing that was very crucial for this was getting the right amount of feedback. If you have too little feedback, you don't really get the type of delay quality you want. If the feedback is too intense, then it just really gets muddy and you can't really hear or pick out the notes themselves and they just get kind of lost. But essentially what I'm doing, I'm just automating the dry wet mix down over time. And then right before the drop, it kind of gets a little bit more hectic again. Another thing that I am automating is the Serum reverb amount. So again, at the beginning, very delayed, more reverb. And then as the song goes on, the reverb isn't as present. And then we have this filter frequency, this knob here, which is increasing just before the drop here. And another thing that I've talked about in other videos, but I think the key to like a proper deadmau5 buildup is automating the filter frequency amount as well as this mod amount, so this blue line. So if you click on this, you can automate this as well. So over time, you can see how this mod amount changes. So as it's getting to the drop and the filter is building up, the mod amount is increasing. So essentially that helps us keep that pluck sound, even though it's opening up more, because this pluck envelope is actually affecting the filter more. So that's another reason that I don't have the mod amount starting fully up at the start. I have it a little bit lower down, and then it's just about getting the right balance of cutoff automation and mod amount automation. So that is about it, I think. I had the attack pushed a little bit more at the intro of this, so it's a little bit more of that brass swooped into the note, and then once it hits the beat, it's a little bit tighter. That's pretty much it for that sound. These high delays are the same patch, essentially, same concept with the dry wet is pretty high, so we're just hearing the delayed sounds essentially. But for this one, I'm using a square wave and then this kind of guitar smack sound. I threw in a little bit of a saw wave, and I have a very quick envelope on these. So those two combined kind of gives us the main driving force of the track. So next we can go over the pad sound. I think pads are one of my favorite sounds. I think they just, as far as sound design goes, they can be really intricate and very engineer-y. So for this first pad, this is just the low portion. And I have this cello wavetable, which I have to transfer over the wavetables that I had on my last computer. But this gives us a very kind of vocal sound. So I have the voices thrown up here to make it wider, more lush, more texture. I balanced the sine wave in here as well, so we have more of a foundational wave table that's going in there, just so the notes have some structure. And then the main key to this is just having a reverb that's all the way up. And then I low passed it and I boosted this kind of low mid area just to give it some presence. And that was just from matching the reference. So like I said, I broke it up into a high patch as well. And if you watch this mod amount from this LFO on the wavetable, I think what I did is I came into the wavetable editor And I played around with the harmonics here to get some weird things popping up. And then with this LFO just moving slowly through that wavetable, what we get with this LFO moving through that wavetable very slowly is these harmonics that pop up if you look at the wavetable. So as that's hitting the reverb, we're going to get some different harmonics that are ringing out, especially some higher harmonics. And I think what I did with this EQ, I'm actually automating the high frequencies so they don't come in straight away. I have it a little bit darker at the beginning, and then as the intro starts to gain speed, the highs are introduced. I also have this higher sine in there for a similar reason, just to give us more high frequencies ringing out. But then if I combine it with our low pad, so we have our pad sound. If I play that with our plucks, okay, so that is pretty much it for the main meat of this song. The sub, like I said, I had a sine wave and then an octave above because it didn't have the right frequencies with just one sub below. If you look at the analyzer, there's also a fundamental above. So instead of having like a saw wave and really low passing that hard, I just put another sine wave over the top. And then the sine sounds are pretty simple, just a sine wave with some reverb, and I'm automating the volume of them. And you can see this very high frequency harmonic up there. I think what I did, I just added a little bit because it sounded like there's this ringing note that was combined with the sine. So just added an extra harmonic up there. Very quiet though. And then I just threw some extra reverb on there. So lastly, this saw sound. Just a single saw wave, so you can hear how, well, if you listen into the actual song, it's very clear that it's just a single saw wave. You can hear the difference of that to our plucks, which have multiple voices. This one's very uniform, very electric sounding. Just threw some plate reverb on there. There's a little bit of an envelope on this filter. I believe I'm adjusting the mod amount as well as it's coming up. Adjusting the filter as we're heading towards this climax. And then another thing that I did, I'm actually automating the reverb just a bit, so it's a little bit more intense as we're hitting that climax. But what I also did is automate the high cut and the damp down as we hit that climax. So as we're building up, this reverb is actually opening up and letting more high frequency content come out. So this reverb is getting brighter and bigger as time goes on. I threw a boost around 4K. When I was looking at the analyzer, deadmau5 just had this sound like really peaking up here. I don't know how he did that, opening it up. I don't know if it's just the type of saw wave that he used or the type of filter that he had, but I couldn't get it without some EQ, so I pushed that up. And then some delay here as well, which is mimicking the type of delay from the Plucks. And that's just building up a little bit as we go. And then this noise layer, same notes, same rhythm, all that, just using some noise, took out some of the lows, some reverb and delay on it as well. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys. It's good to be back making some videos. Let me know what you want me to work on next. I have another deadmau5 one that I need to record, and I just started working on a song by Salute because I really love like UK house and just that UK house vibe and flow, and like how things flow with the different types of groove with the hi-hats. So still working on building that one up, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching for this past year. It's been kind of crazy to see this channel grow, but I hope to continue to make some videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.